Hey, I'm Jason. Welcome to another Marvel vs. System unboxing. This is for the Black Order, part of the Infinity Wars arc, Volume 2, Issue number 3. The first two in the arc are Cosmic Avengers. We get a bunch of new Avenger characters, spacefaring characters too, and then the second one is Galactic Guardians, which we get more Guardians of the Galaxy cards. Definitely a great way to all three of these sets to add on to the base game because you have more Avengers, more Guardians. This has Thanos in the Black Order, but they're listed as villain characters, so they work well with the villain, mixed with the villains from the base game as well. One thing just to bring up right off the bat is this set, lots of characters from this entire arc. Not a lot, a couple of characters, say like one or two from each thing, require the space location, which is only available in 3 different sets right now. Either the illustrated sets, either the Monsters Unleashed with the Leviathans, the Alien or Predator sets, which are not Marvel characters, but you can use them as well because they're still illustrated, or if you really have to break the rules because it's the only way to get a hold of them, the Photogenic Universe X-File set also has space locations as well. So some of them use abilities that use those instead of the normal like red, blue, yellow, green, your laboratory, stuff like that. So just a heads up on that. So we'll get to those characters. But yeah, otherwise this should be pretty interesting. This does jump into the original Infinity War arc, so there's some really interesting characters in this deck. So let's hop in and see what we got. So first off, we're going to start with one of the most unique characters for our main characters is Death. She has no level, she has infinite health, she has 1 defense, 1 attack. She is immortal, which is a special ability which basically means she can't die. Well, she can die, but how they actually read it. Being immortal means she has no level. She's beyond these mortal things. She starts with infinite health. She can't be face down. If she be turned face down, you instead switch her to her other side, which is actually represented by a second card. Because I don't think they want to make double-sided cards in this set. They didn't have to. But when you're sleeving these, they give you the option to, they tell you in the rules, you could do that because you're constantly flipping between both sides rather than, or both cards rather than, just having it, and you're never going to have it in your deck being its a main character. It's an ability that also can't be turned off. So instead of turning her face down, you switch her with her other cards, she remains face up. She still suffers other effects, from the stun, such as losing counters, gaining wounds, and becoming exhausted. If she would be hidden, instead of switching her with her other card, she'll remain face up and place her in the ready position. So since she can't be turned face down, she can be stunned multiple times in a single turn. However, if she takes fatal wounds, she's not really defeated. She just temporarily lost interest in this mortal battle. The player who is using her is defeated, though. So just kind of a funny thing there. So her ability is Death herself. Death gets +1/+1 for each character in each KO pile. So as the game gets on, she's only going to get stronger. And Mistress of the Infinity Well. If a player would draw 1 or more cards, they instead draw that many cards +1. So their idea with Infinity is that Infinity is return her sideways. Should we get stunned, she switches to her other form, which now becomes an 8. So that gives her 8 health. And the same thing, there would be her Infinity symbol. So that was their idea with that. Why you turn, so instead, you just switch to her other side. And so when she's in this form, she does have 8 health. She can take damage. But she keeps all her counters on her when so instead of getting stunned. So she's always just going to keep building up unless you remove them. She keeps Death herself. She also gains Cosmic Balance. When a player recruits a supporting character, they put -1/-1 counters equal to its defense divided as they choose on enemy supporting characters. So more characters come in, they're trying to eliminate more of them. This is kind of an interesting character. You're gonna have to work around how she's built, but it's definitely neat. We have a lot of interesting main characters in this set. So next we have Nebula, who's a villain. Thanos' greatest creation. Nebula is passive, and she loses and can't gain other keywords or superpowers. Vengeance stirs. At the beginning of an enemy turn, if Nebula is equipped with a one-of-a-kind equipment, she gains an XP. So there are some in this set, but there's some in other sets you could give her too. It just has to be a one-of-a-kind, which is kind of fun. There's not a lot of those that aren't, what's the word I'm looking for? Not tied to a specific team. So there makes that a little bit harder to get some of them. But when she does level up, she goes from a 0-3 up to, this is when she gets the Infinity Gauntlet in the original story. And she has a 12-12 with ranged and revenge. Thanos characters are passive. They lose and can't gain other printed keywords and superpowers. And says tomorrow is mine to sculpt. So this is one of them space locations, or alien locations as they also call it. Kind of goes back and forth. Choose a printed keyword or superpower on a character on a side or in a KO pile. Nebula gains that power. So you can pay that to just gain a bunch of extra powers. So that's a really fun character. And then what would the Infinity Gauntlet be without Thanos himself? He has some really interesting stats. He only has 2 health and 2 4 attacks. So this is kind of where just that I'm going to stand around and watch type of thing. So death is with me every second. When Thanos attacks, he may convert up to 3 of his defense to attack this combat. So he can become a 5-1 if you choose. Resurrected by death herself. If Thanos should be KO'd, instead heal all his wounds from him and he gains an XP. So you're going to keep constantly probably converting that to gain more attack, and when he eventually dies, he gets resurrected to his level 2 form. Schemes and Dreams. You can't draw cards during your draw phase. At the start of your turn, you may search your deck for a card and put it into your hand. So that's pretty crazy. He ups to 4 health now, 3 attack, 6 defense. Then he has Plotter and Schemer. Level up 1. When Thanos uses Schemes and Dreams, he gains an XP. So you only get to use it once to go find 1 card. So you can't use it to like stack your deck or find a bunch of things and you're like, okay, I gotta do this. You gotta use it once and do it. Because he's looking specifically for the Infinity Gauntlet, which is the idea of it. But you don't have to use that. You could have him find something else. And finally, he gets a level 3 version, which says Games and Prizes. When Thanos KOs an enemy character, draw cards equal to its health. And then My Quest begins. Level up 6. When a card enters your hand from your deck, Thanos gains an XP. So the higher level character he gets, the more he gets to draw. So he can gain some XP that way. And then he finally gets a level 4, which very few characters have, but it makes sense for Thanos to get. I'm going to pull this from a little bit closer. There's a lot of small text on there. Even God's Heir. Once per turn during each of your build phase, you may KO a supporting character you recruited this turn. If you do, gain a recruit points equal to that cost. So you like unsummon like someone if he doesn't want him, essentially. The universe will now be set right. At the end of your turn, if the Infinity Gauntlet is equipped to Thanos with 6 different Infinity Gems in set on your side, you may snap. If you do, KO it. Then flip a coin for each character on each side. One at a time, remove each character who loses their flip from the game. And like with level 4s, they gain extra health as well. So that's what he's all about. So I'm going to do here is we're going to skip everything else and we're going to look at the Infinity Gauntlet. So we can see exactly what this does. So we have the Infinity Gauntlet, which is a special villainous equip card. I kind of wish they either A, made a hero version, or it would have just been neutral. Because there are other characters that have used it from time to time, but that's alright. So one of a kind and Infinity keywords. Cost 6, which makes sense, 1 for each gem. The Unbridled Power of a God. Once on each of your turns, but not during combat, you may set any number of face-down Infinity Gems in your resource row into the gauntlet. Turn them face up. The gauntlet now has the powers of each inset gem on your side. Infinite power. Pay one of each of the 6 different classes, ranging space and earth. If 6 different Infinity Gems are inset on your side, you can do anything you want for the rest of the game. So, there are a bunch of specialty things for that. So, we're going to look over some of them before we jump into other cards. The Infinity Gauntlet allows you to turn any number of face-down Infinity Gem equipment in your resource row face up to show you've set them into the gauntlet. If a card with Infinity gets put into the KO pile from anywhere, you may shuffle it into its owner's deck. So this one, or the Infinity Gems, they keep coming back. They can't be destroyed or removed from the game. If a gauntlet leaves play, leave the face-up gems in your resource row as they are. However, you can no longer use their powers. The character on our side equips the gauntlet later in the game. Those gems will already be inset, and the wielder can use their power again. So basically, once you've done it once, it's done. You don't have to keep redoing it. And then the Infinity Power allows you to do anything you want, but here's some things you could do. Play a +1/+1 counter on a character, take an extra turn, use a build phase power during your main phase, flip your deck over, institute a shared turn, or win the game, unless there are any other effects preventing you from winning the game. Turn off any effects that were preventing you from winning the game, now win the game, and then draw a card. So there's a bunch of different weird things you can do. So essentially you're probably going to be like, click, I win the game. But, you could make it fair, make it interesting, be like, I'm going to eliminate half your things, or do half health, or you could play around with it and have fun. That's probably what I would do if I had that, unless I was in like a tournament or something. But I was just playing casually, I'd be like, alright, I won the game because I have this. But let's make this fun and let's do something weird. Unless I'm like winning by a landslide already before that happened, then I might just be like, never mind. Alright, so let's just get the gems quick. So these are all going to be one-of-a-kind Infinity equipments with the Marvel logo. So that's not common, you see that up there, but they do put that in some of the equipment. So they're not team-specific, but they can only be played by Marvel characters. So you can't use these with like Alien and Predator, because they're illustrated, or any other sets like that they come across. Owned by Grandmaster. So each of these cards are going to be owned by an Elder of the Universe. So if you have that Elder card out, which none of them are in this set, but they do appear in later sets. I think the crossover packs are what we're looking for. You may play this for free onto that character. So no thought shall remain a secret. Choose one, draw 3 cards, or each enemy discards 3 random cards. The Power Gem, owned by the Champion. With it, I need fear nothing. Choose one, character on your side gets +10 attack, or an enemy gets -10 attack. The Reality Gem, owned by the Collector. I dream it, and it will be turn up to 1 card on each side face up, or turn up to 1 card on each side face down. The Soul Gem, which can also be used by Adam Warlock in the Galactic Guardian set. So if I can find him quick. So you do have the main character from that set who says, search your deck, hand, tail, power, resource row for the Soul Gem with free action, and equip it to him, tailing other one-of-a-kind equipment. So it's kind of, he also controls that for a long time, so he can use that card for free as well. Otherwise, it belongs to the In-Betweener. The very core of what life is. Choose one, name a supporting character, and it can't appear in this game, or search your deck for supporting character, reveal it, and put it into your hand. The Space Gem, owned by the Runner. I can be everywhere or nowhere. And this one uses a space symbol. And that one used humanity. so it's kind of, those are a little bit harder to access. Choose one. Move a character to a different row on its side, or remove a character from the game at the start of its owner's next turn and put it on their side. And then finally, we are going to get the Time Gem. Owned by the Gardener. Infinity is clay waiting for me to mold it. Choose one. Search your deck for a location and put it into your resource row face up, or put an enemy resource on top of its owner's deck. So those are our Infinity Gems. Alright, now we're going to get to our supporting characters. So first we're going to start with the Outrider. The Outrider has Legion and Swarm. Swarm means you can have any number in play, and Legion means you can have up to 8 in your deck. So we do get 8 copies of this character. Genetically engineered. When this character appears, choose one of the following for it to get: flying, range, +2 attack, or +2 defense. And then we're going to start getting into some of the Black Order characters. So there will only be 4 copies of each of these. So you have Black Dwarf. They're villain characters, but they all have the Black Order special keyword. It says when Black Dwarf appears, put the top 6 cards, reveal the top 6 cards of your deck. Put a one-of-a-kind equipment from among them into your hand. Shuffle the rest of the revealed cards into your deck. And you have to reveal them so you can't lie and say you didn't find it, or people can see what you have. Tough. When Black Dwarf gets stunned, you may recover him. He still gets wounds. So all the Black Order characters are going to have that Black Order ability, just with a different name. So I'm not going to keep rereading that ability. Here we have Proxima Midnight. And it says lethal. If Proxima Midnight wounds a defending supporting character, KO it. We are going to get Super Giant. Mind Games. When Super Giant appears, you may have a player discard their hand, then draw that many cards. Corvus Glaive. Ferocious. While melee combat, Corvus Glaive strikes before a character without Ferocious. Ebony Maw, who has Genius. At the start of your turn, draw a card. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different Black Order characters. So if you can get all 5 out, each one potentially could find you one of the gems. And then you could use Thanos' lots of his drawing abilities to find the 6th one. And then our final supporting character, it's actually a lower cost I just skipped over, was Nebula. A new order exists within the universe. When Nebula appears, she may pay strength. If she does, put 2 -1/-1 counters on each enemy supporting character that doesn't share a team affiliation with a main character on its side. Alright. Then our last 2 cards are going to be a plot twist, which anyone can use, which I love these. Your main character may pay strength. If it does, put 4 +1/+1 counters on supporting characters on your side. And I believe that is the champion, if I'm correct. And our final one is a location. You get 4 copies of, which is Titan. Hybrid Eternals. During your build phase, your main character may pay strength. If it does, turn this location face down. Each supporting character on your side gains Eternal this turn. And what does Eternal do, you might ask? Let me find out. Eternal says, if this character would leave play, you may put it into its owner's hand instead. So it's definitely a fun little thing. Alright, and there's our deck list. So maybe not as many different, I mean, a lot of the different equipment, but maybe not a lot of other stuff. As the other characters, but you can mix and match these gems, one in this deck, one in that deck. Bunch of interesting stuff there. Although, yes, except for level 4 Thanos, which requires the Infinity Gauntlet, the other 3 don't require it, so you could use them to find other things, which definitely makes it a little bit interesting. And the same thing with the Black Order. You don't have to search for the Infinity Gauntlet. You could have them search for the Infinity Gauntlet or for the gems. You could have them search for other things from other sets. So it's, although their deck is designed to be played, with the gauntlet and the stones, you can use them for other things. And then with the stones being owned by the elders, you can put one in a deck with them, where you can have all 6 of them, the 6 gems in a different deck together. So there's plenty of different options. I hope that they do release more ways to get to space and Earth locations other than just Monsters Unleashed, because there's a bunch of different cards in this arc, as well as a few other sets that require those. And having them tied into one box only for just Marvel characters, it's kind of a bummer. Like I said, there are other ways to buy them, but if you're only a Marvel fan, you shouldn't be forced to have to try and pick up Alien and Predator, or have to play the photogenic X-Files, if that's the only way you can find it, just to be able to use these powers. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.